Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we would have a look at this. What we have here is we have a Dansette executive tape recorder. This is a JTR 93. It probably dates from the very early 1970s. So a little bit unusual, as you don't normally see things like this badged Dansette. I mean, this isn't like a music player really. This is basically they'd be used as a dictaphone in an office. I picked this up a while back off eBay. I think I paid £5 for it. Totally sold as seen. I've not done anything with it at all, but I thought I would get it out and we'll see if we can get this thing to perhaps play. It does have a tape in it, which was in it when I bought it. Now, I've not tried playing this tape. I do have other reel-to-reel players which I'm sure would be able to play the tape. Oops. But I thought it might be quite nice if we can see if we can get this thing to run, and see if we can see what's on that tape there. So anyway, let's have a quick look at this thing. It's in really nice condition, this actually. It's, apart from the microphone which is missing and the power cable which is missing, otherwise it's actually really complete, and it's not bashed about either. It's a mains battery unit, and that's the first issue that we've got with this thing, is it uses a slightly non-standard, as we can see there, AC input. I have seen this before. It's basically, it's made in Japan, and I've seen quite a number of items before that have similar plugs to that. What we'll probably end up doing for the future is replacing that with a figure of 8 connector. I think a figure of 8 connector would be the best solution for that, because I don't have any of them cables, and they are rather hard to find. It can run on batteries. If we didn't want to change it at all, it will happily run on batteries. I don't know how long it'd actually last on a set of batteries, but we have provision for C-cell. I think the C-cells this thing uses. Can't see it. Yeah, the flashlight. Oh no, the D cells it uses. So it uses 4 D cells to give it 6 volts. So I'm not sure how long they'd last. Probably quite a reasonable amount of time with them being D cells. But for some reason they were C's. What it doesn't have, unfortunately, is an external power input for a low voltage DC jack. I don't want to hack it about to fit one either, really. I don't mind changing the... and this is another problem we have with these things, is the foam in them. And possibly the belts are going to be in a nasty state as well. So we're going to get inside this thing, basically, and we'll have a look at the belts, have a general look around it, and then we'll perhaps try firing it up. Possibly using my bench power supply, low voltage. We'll feed it 6 volts and see what it does. And then we'll look at possibly giving it some mains and running it up on the mains and see if it works that way. That's if it works at all. We may need to do some repair work on this thing. Like I said, it was sold to me, totally sold as seen. But like I said, it is in rather nice condition. So, without further ado, let's get the back off, and we'll have a see what we've got inside it. I mean, being it was made as a dictaphone system, you can kind of see someone in flared trousers in the early 70s kind of carrying this thing around with music blaring out of it. It does have that kind of like that Dansette look about it. I don't know whether anyone ever did bother doing that, but... or indeed whether the fidelity on this thing would be even anywhere approaching good enough to allow decent audio to be played through it. It's probably really only designed for speech. But like I said, we'll have a play. We will see. Right. If we can get the... there we go. We're in. And amazing, I'm actually very, I mean, they're probably completely shot, but at least they haven't turned to goo. Yeah, I mean, they completely shot, the belts, but so they haven't turned to some horrible sticky goo like so many these drive belts actually do. I mean, I don't think we're going to get a play out of them. I think I've got some belts kicking around somewhere. We could possibly bodge in this thing to try it, but it don't look too bad in there anyway. That's the good thing. Right, let's see how this thing's powered. We've got a spring down there on that side, and that's got a blue wire on it. And where does that wire go? It goes across to there. It's a green wire, goes around, goes over to there, so that's from there to there. So that is our negative, and that there is our positive. So we can try feeding 6 volts into it and see what it's going to do. So I don't even know whether it's going to spin with the state of them belts. They are absolutely knackered, but we'll see if it does anything at all. Well, at least we can see whether the amplifier is going to... Ah, we've got a date as well. Have we got a date? It looks like a date, that. Let's see if this one's got a date on it. That's the 1st to the 7th. I think that's 68. So it's a little bit late. It's a little bit earlier than I first anticipated. I was expecting possibly about 70, early 1970s, but they appear to be 1st to the 7th, 68. And 2 smoothing capacitors there, 1000 UF at 10 volt. The Fox Chemicom, I wonder where they're made. I presume the Japanese. Something made me think that Fox was an American make, though. Anyway, let's find some leads, and we'll see if we can get this thing powered up. I'm just going to have to move the camera a spec so I can get into my drawer. Get the old meter out, so we might need that in a minute. Let's get some test leads out. In fact, we've got these ones here. These will do nicely. Let's get you back on there like that. Do need to put some banana plugs on the end of these cables rather than just keep using the binding posts on this. It's fine, it's just a bit of a pain in the backside to do every time you want to just quickly connect some cables up. Just bear with me a second. That's that one. That one. Okay. Oh, and of course that's not plugged in, so where's that plug gone? Where's that plug gone? That's not it. Where's it gone? It goes down there. Ah, there it is. It's hiding. I don't need the paste plugged in anymore, so I can unplug that and I can plug the bench supply in. And we must get on to fixing that other bench supply, which would be far better for doing things like this. Let's take that up to 6 volts. There we go. Right, let's see what this thing's going to do. We connect that to that side, and we connect this up to that side there. Make sure it's not going to short on anything. Right, that should power the unit up. Let's see if indeed it's going to do anything. I think for safety we'll take the tape off for now. Ooh, let's make sure we don't damage it. Get that wrapped up and out of the way. There we go. Alright, let's see if this thing's going to do anything. Well, the pinch roller's come out and the capstan's turning. So it's obviously not dead. Let's see if we get any volume out of it. Yep. The amp appears to be working. Let's see if the rewind works. Yep, rewind appears to work. Stop. Play again, but that's not turning, so even though it's the spindle's going, it'll just be spooling the tape out along the bench. It's not actually allowing the take up to spin. That's probably due to that belt that's I don't know. So that seems to be turning alright, but this one, honestly can't see anything that's meant to go on to that. I wonder, is that the driven? I'm tempted to just to connect the I'm tempted just to put the tape on it and see if we can get it to play, and I can at least just spin it on a bit like that and see if it actually does play. Yeah, let's throw caution to the wind. Sod it. In fact, I wonder if that turns out. I don't know. Let's have a play. And watch there be some unrecorded Beatles track or something like this on here, and I'll chew it up. That'd be my luck. There we go, that seems to be. Right, let's see if this thing's going to play.
Lektion.
Oh well.
Ein Besuch in Hamburg. Wenn man nur ein paar Tage in Hamburg ist, hat man keine Zeit, alles zu sehen. Es wird daher gut sein, sich vorher zu überlegen, was einen am meisten interessiert. Vor allem müssen Sie einen Spaziergang durch die Stadt machen. Beginnen.
I'll stop that. I don't think there's any chance of me getting a copyright claim on that anyway. Anyone that speaks German that can actually translate that, they're more than welcome to. I don't speak any German at all, unfortunately. Let's see if this thing will rewind. What is rewinding? I said them belts are absolutely shot, but it seems to rewind okay. Let's have a look at the back of here again. Get that out to there. In fact, we'll switch the bench supply off and turn this round. This is what I can't quite figure out. Now, I've got a belt there, which is obviously allows that to turn. That's what's giving us our rewind. But that should turn to take up the tape as the capstan turns. And for some reason, it doesn't seem to be turning. But what I can't see, I was expecting there to be a belt on the back of this or something, and there isn't. In fact, I can't see anything on. It on how it's actually going to be driven, which is most odd indeed. Let's try putting this into. That's into play mode, which releases a brake and allows that to move free. But I can't for the life of me see how that's meant to spin to do the take up on the tape. I expect there to be a belt on the back of that, to somewhere here, to allow that to turn, to take up from the capstan there. But that's the back of it here, and there doesn't seem to be anything. This is most strange. Interesting. This is a... Yeah, the unit is multi-voltage. It's set up, it says AC220 there, but that's actually a multi-tap mains input transformer. It's got 220 volts, 115 volts and 100 volts. So that's that's basically Europe. Obviously I don't think this thing was really designed to be sold in the UK, which is, yeah. Because that's 220 volts, which was the standard for Europe, 117, which was pretty much the US, and 100, which was Japan. But this one, obviously, they set it to the 220, stuck a 220 sticker on it. But yeah, if you did know these things, it is multi-voltage. It was probably just easier to do that than make 3 different versions of it. But that doesn't answer our question as to why that isn't turning. I'll just pop the circlip off it and pop it out, and we can have a look at the back of it. See if there's a pulley or something in there that is driven off. That would kind of make sense. I hate getting these clips off. It can be a right pain in the whatnot to do. They're not like a normal circlip. They're a bit harder to manipulate than your average regular circlip. Might be a flat screwdriver job, this, and push it off. Let's try that. I just don't want to put too much pressure on it and risk damaging the clip. Though if it did break, I could just replace it with a normal standard circlip, I think. Oh, bloody hell. Come off. Right, go on now. Nope. No, that really doesn't want to come off. I have a feeling I need to get that off to see what's... Unless I take the whole mechanism out and look at it from the other side. We could do that, in fact. Yeah, let's... Right, I wonder how it comes out. Just see, it's screwed there. It's screwed at the back there. I have a feeling the rest of that will all come out as one happy unit. Oh yeah, let's give this a go. We're going to get in there and change them belts anyway, so I need to find some belts as well. I'm sure I've got a box of belts kicking about up here somewhere. The one's salvaged off all VCRs and things, but for something just for me playing with, I don't mind that. If I've got any that are the right size, that is. This is good. Oh, there's one. I missed one. Nicely made, this thing, but minimalist construction. That's the way I'd describe it. And one of the fun things is going to be getting all these cables all neat back together when we put this thing back together. Always a pain to do. But if you're not careful and you don't put them back in the right place, then nothing's going to fit to... Ah, right, yeah, I'm an idiot. I should have pulled the main control off before I started. Hopefully I can push it off. It does just seem to be plastic and fixed on a... Yeah, that's going to be awkward as well. We need to release the, basically we need to release this here to be able to get the mechanism out. But I can't actually see at this precise moment how that's meant to come off. I was hoping it just slid off, but I don't think it does. And what I don't want to do, we can just try a little bit, but I don't want to risk doing that and forcing it when perhaps if that's not the way it comes off. No, I think I'm going to break something if I keep doing that. There must be another way to get that out of there. I think there's a groove on that pulley, you know. I think there should be a belt on it. I think I can just see it there, where the groove is, in there, that will take up that. Yeah, I'm pretty certain of it. So we do definitely need to be able to get this mechanism out to be able to access that. That's going to be a pain. Is there another screw holder? Yes, there's two in there. This is going to be a right swine to get apart, I can tell. And taking that off, I don't think it's giving us that much more leeway. Need to figure out how this releases. Once we figure... Ah, we can take that out there. I wonder if there's a screw we can access. Ah, there we go. There's a screw in there. Let's try a different throw. There we go. That's it. There's a little set screw there holding it in. That's proper nice quality. There's a bit of die-cast aluminium, or, well, at least a die-cast alloy. It's a bit heavy for aluminium. It's some aluminium alloy anyway. Well, that's a really nicely made. We may have some luck now. We may actually be able to get inside here, and it gives us an opportunity to clean some of this crud out. Another screw. Right. What's stopping this coming out now? I think we'll have to take the... this is going to be a pain. We literally have to disassemble the whole unit just to get it out of the case. And we're all doing all this just so we can... change, or at least look to see if we can change that one belt. That's indeed even if I have a belt here. This may be a two-parter if I have to find a belt for it. Hopefully these will pop out. Yeah, they do. That's negative. Now, hopefully we're going to come out now. Still being held in. It's going to make me take all these off. Oh well, at least we can have a look at the other side of the board. Well, that was the easy bit. The hard bit with that, of course, is putting all them back in when we've finished. Put all that lot together, and hopefully now, that's more like it, that's that freed off. Hopefully now we should be able to get the mechanism out. Let's get that out of the way. Oops. Come on, come free now. What on earth is holding it in there now? This is definitely a Japanese unit. It's so nimble at doing very, very tight little things like this that there's just no chance we could do over here in the UK. Hats off to them really for that. Right, now I'm going to have to disconnect the speaker to be able to get in here, and what I'm going to do, because there is a little bit of slack on these cables, I'm just going to snip rather than desolder them. I'm just going to snip them and leave a tiny little bit of the original wire like that on, simply because then I can see exactly where them wires have come from, and I can just strip back a little bit more and I can solder them back when I there we are. So that's the speaker free. Hopefully now this solder hit that there, that's the power connection to the mains, to the batteries, sorry. You can see where them two red wires go. It's easy enough. You need a good hot iron to do this because there's quite a lot of metal there. That's the first one off. Come on, off you come. There's the second one off. Check, we can put them back on easy enough when we've finished. Right, now let's hopefully finally see if we can get this mechanism out of the... Well, sorry about that, folks. As it happens, as usual, the battery went on my camera, and I still haven't sorted out. I'm going to have to buy a new camera. I know I keep saying that, but I will have to buy a new camera. If you've missed it, as you can see, we've finally got it out of the case. I've just put the board back on just to stop it getting damaged, that you're flexing about and moving around while we work on this thing. Oh, we've desoldered the power connections. They go to that side. That's the negative side, and that's the bridge between the two sides of the battery. This is the power supply section. That's it. We've basically had to take everything out of the case just to get it out so we can have a look at replacing the belts. So the next thing is going to be basically finding some new belts for this thing. That's, like I said, it's completely shot. As you can see, it's completely slack. Same with that one. Again, it's completely slack. And the one underneath, which should go from that basically it should go from there round these two pulleys here, I think. And to one, there's a big pulley under there, so it needs to go through that, I guess through them to that there. So we'll need to find something to replace that with, and then we need to do a hell of a lot of cleaning on this thing. In fact, let's do a little bit of cleaning now, just to see how we can get some of this up. As you can see, it's absolutely covered in filth and fluff and all kinds of nastiness. So let's see if we can take care of some of that while we're here. Got a bit of isopropyl. Let's just see if we can clean up some of this muck and rubbish we've got around here. It really is quite nasty. As you can see, that's just from straight away. In fact, let's have a look at the heads, see how well we can clean the heads up. It's rather nice. It has this little protector that goes over the heads when they're not in use. Let's see if we can clean the heads up though, see how well they Ugh. There doesn't seem to be really any wear ridges on the heads. I've got some very old real players somewhere, and if you look at the heads on them, there's actually a groove worn in them. They've been used that much. And I think they are ex-education machines, so they probably did get a heavy use. I think that's a ferrograph. Pretty sure I've got a ferrograph down in the cellar. But as you can see, that really is quite nasty, and most of that's just come off the heads. I'll carry on cleaning round anyway, just see if we can get the most of the muck and rubbish off here. If nothing else, it just makes the unit nicer to actually handle while you're working on it and you're repairing it, to be honest. Trying to get rid of all this fluff and grease and gunk. And we will re-lubricate this mechanism as well. There we go. We'll get a new cotton bud, I think. Now, there's some debate on this next thing of whether you should really clean these with isopropyl or not. And my thing is with them, if they really are dirty, clean them with isopropyl, but just make sure that you dry it off pretty much straight away afterwards. Don't leave the isopropyl actually on the rubber, because it can start to affect the rubber. But this is this one really is very dirty. Dear me. The rubber on the capstan's actually still in really nice condition. It's not hardened at all. It's just absolutely filthy. Look. Give it another little go, and then we'll dry that off with a bit of paper. There we go. Ew. Let's find some paper so we can give that a clean off. Paper, where's my paper gone? Oh, that'll do. Lint free as well, this. There we go. And that's got all that nastiness off that pinch roller. Oh, that actually looks a lot better than it did. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I would normally take it off, but these circlips are a right pain, and I'll probably risk breaking one actually if I'm too vigorous with them. Yeah. Right, so there's not that much more I can do with this until I find some belts for it. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to call this part 1, and in part 2 we'll get back onto this thing, and we'll try putting some new belts in it, and then we'll try putting it back together and seeing whether we can actually get it to play and record properly. I do have plenty of tape, so what I'll probably end up doing, if I can get it to play and record, I'll dump whatever's on that tape down to a MP3 so I can look at it in future, and then we'll perhaps try recording something else onto that tape and see how this thing actually records with a new set of belts and cleaned heads and what have you. Might even try recording some music onto it and see what the fidelity of it's like. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Hopefully we didn't lose too much footage there with the old battery going flat on me again. So I'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.